So I don't know how to go and let a whole bunch of people in. It's like I'm a little confused. Sorry to say.
Okay, if you double click on the participants list so it comes up in a separate screen,
Yes.
there's an Admit All button at the top.
Thank you. I see it now. Thank you so much.
Of course.
There we are. Welcome everyone to AGM number 4. And I'm going to I was already inviting people to dance together, but I'm also going to invite you to find something just nearby that you could offer to one of the rooms that you see. So I'm going to offer some flowers to somebody and imagine them in their room, and something to someone else, and someone else. We're giving gifts, we're inviting, we're creating this very big room. We are together. Our boxes are uniting through all of our gifts. And then we create the big circle, imagining, looking and seeing where all these people are. Incredible circle around the globe. Welcome. May I have our meeting intentions, please? And all right, and Kirika, would you please? Yeah, thank you.
年次総会の趣旨。この会議の目的は ATI の業務を遂行することです。私たちは可能な限りこれを学習的な会話とみなします。私たちは善意を持って耳を傾け、善意を持って参加し、他の人も善意を持って行動していることを前提とします。私たちは means whereby に注意を払い、 特に強い感情を抱くときには、敬意としなやかさを持って耳を傾けます。ありがとうございました。
Arigato. Okay. And may I have the next slide, please, with the agenda? Here is the part 1 of our meeting agenda for today. We're already at partway in at the present and consent to agenda for 5 minutes. Formal consensus roles for 5 minutes. Professional Development Committee, PDC, Level 3 Resolving Concerns, 20 minutes. Followed by a light and lively for 3 minutes. Followed by PDC Level 3 Resolving Concerns for 20 minutes. Then a screen break for 5 minutes. And then Professional Development Committee Level 3 Resolving Concerns for an additional 10 minutes. Followed by announcements, followed by an announcement about the 2025 conference, and 2 minutes for the APC pre-break announcements. Are there any concerns about the meeting agenda for part 1? Okay, may I have the next slide, please? Meeting number 1, agenda part 2. The Continuing Education Committee sharing and question and answers for 15 minutes. We have nominations with election results for 10 minutes. A light and lively for 3 minutes. The board has awards for 15 minutes, followed by meeting 4 evaluations for 5 minutes, an all AGM evaluation for 10 minutes, and seeing each other for 1 minute. Are there any concerns about part 2 of our agenda? Seeing no concerns, we've consented to the agenda. I will note that we might need to flex some of the agenda, so I'll check in with you, but we'll get all the parts in. No matter what we flex around, we'll get all the parts in. But in the interest of flexibility, just noting that. Okay. And may I have the next slide, please? We're looking at our roles for today. Our agenda planners are Danny Loesch and Sarah Mayer. Our note taker, Diane Faust. Kirika Rodermon Nakamura read our meeting intentions. I'm Kathy Madden. I'm your facilitator. Diane Sales is my assistant. In part 2, the facilitators are Mary Lou Chasey and Sarah Mayer. Doorkeeper is Belinda Mello. Our public scribe for part 1 is Rachel Prabhakar. Public scribe 2 is Diana Bradley and Diane Sales. So those are public scribes throughout. I need a peacekeeper. Robin Gilmore has said she'd be peacekeeper. Thank you, Robin. And I need an advocate as well. Is there anyone willing to be the advocate? Somebody's hand went up. There it is. Debbie Adams. Thank you, Debbie.
Kathy, I have a correction. I'm public scribe number 2 for part 1, but
right.
No scribe.
Yeah, yeah, gotcha. Okay, and our tech advocate is Kelsey. Thank you. Language advocate, Maria Weiss. Our formal consensus advocate is Gabby Minas-Brandes. Our light and lively is Manuel Borgel, first one, and our light and lively 2 is Victoria. And our timekeeper is Amy Hack. Fantastic. And may I have the next slide, please? We're now moving to the Professional Development Committee, Level 3, Resolving Concerns. I believe we'll begin with, there again, between meetings, there's been a lot of work going on. So may I have the slide that shows where we are with this proposal and its resolution?
There's
This-
2 slides.
Yep.
And then there's one with the whole thing together that doesn't show what was changed.
Okay. So we'll start with the 2 slides because it will be more readable for everyone. And I will read this. I believe this is pretty much what we left with yesterday on this slide. But I don't know if everyone was here, so I will read it again. And as I read it, consider how it fits with our vision mission and what you and our values for the group and what you care about in this process. So candidates for an ATI teaching certificate demonstrate their knowledge by 1, responding to the prompts for each of the demonstrations of knowledge, Alexander's writings, anatomy, and ethics, in either video, audio, or written form. 2, submitting each of their 3 demonstrations of knowledge for review to an ATI designated reader. 3, submitting the 3 demonstrations of knowledge to their ATI sponsors. And let's move to screen 2, please. Guidelines for teaching candidates and readers will be developed and updated as needed by the CCC with input from other relevant committees. These guidelines will A, specify the qualifications and process for becoming a reader. B, clarify the roles of reader, candidate, and ATI sponsor. C, write an invitation to candidates which emphasizes that the demonstration of knowledge as part of the certification process is a learning process and explains the philosophy of learning and teaching / education based on our vision mission. D, suggest ways to train people, readers and ATI sponsors, RE, the demonstrations of knowledge. E, have all information about doing the demonstration of knowledge easily available on the ATI website with links to public pages. F, when implementing this policy, be sensitive to language and cultural differences, including differences in learning patterns. Explore how we can recruit readers in all ATI's languages. Explore the possibility of using interpreters. G, ask the Ethics Advisory Committee to develop at least one ethics scenario regarding diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. H, reporting regularly to the membership how the process is report regularly to the membership how the process is going. The last part is just information about item B. The item B includes that the readers do not evaluate, that the candidate may make changes to their demonstrations of knowledge or not. And it's the ATI sponsors are the ones who evaluate candidates' demonstrations of knowledge. Okay. So there is the second page is what's been added since yesterday's meeting, and I thank everyone who worked on that in between. Let's stay on this page for the moment. Are there any concerns about what is on this slide? And reminder that you can toggle at the top of your screen between the proposal and the public scribe document. Sarah.
When I read E, I believe it would be clearer what is meant if the last sentence fragment says with links on public pages, so that what we're saying is the public in general can be on our ATI website and see a link to all information about doing a demonstrations of knowledge. As I read it now,
Okay.
it
Yeah,
goes at reverse.
we have it. Yeah. I think that's one we could just change now. Any concerns about just changing that? Okay. And Teresa.
I just want to make sure that in terms of housekeeping, that the second part of this is clearly delineated after it's posted as procedural and not the policy itself. I just because policies take a much longer time to make changes to. And if I'm understanding all of this correctly, that second part is procedural notes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Would saying guidelines for developing policies for teaching candidates and readers will be developed?
No.
No.
If the word policy appears anywhere in that document, it will have to go forward as a.
Do you mean procedures?
Yeah.
Guidelines for developing procedures?
Yes, that's what I meant. Guidelines for developing procedures.
Thank you. I just.
Any concerns about that edit to take care of the concern? Catherine has a. Oh, wait. Is that a concern about?
No, someone posted in chat that they have a clarifying question, and I said yes.
Okay. Then Judith.
Just with what you just did, that's not the original reason why I raised my question, but maybe because of the two words developing and developed, you could say guidelines for developing procedures for teaching candidates and readers will be undertaken and updated.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And then my other question or concern or whatever it is qualified as is letter C.
Mm-hmm.
So it may just be me, but after the and in the sentence, because I had to keep referring back and I wasn't quite sure. I thought for clarity, maybe if we said and which explains, maybe that's not correct English or it's different in other languages. But for me, I'd like it to say and which explains. But maybe that's not good English. I don't know.
Okay.
It's a long thing that the invitation is doing.
Okay, gotcha. Any concerns about adding? Well, let's go ahead and add it. Unless I need to double all these hands. We just noting we do change. Grammar gets taken care of after the meeting as well. So if it's truly a grammar question, that's a kind of housekeeping thing.
Okay.
So Diane?
I have a concern about where this is going in our body of knowledge for our members, but also for the people involved in being readers, and also a concern about translation with this document, because for English speakers, it's understandable, but it's wordy. And I don't think we need some of the adverbs we have in here. It's just, It's not as clean as what we saw with page 1, which is very clear.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Just noting this is a baby document, so some of that probably is housekeeping, where we figure out how to do it. Now, clarifying question, this goes along with the proposal. It will be with it.
But is it part of policy, Kathy?
It is procedures. So we have a policy, and then we added that we want these things covered in the procedures.
So it will be part of that document.
It will be part of that document.
Okay.
It's going to be a permanent document.
Okay.
Okay.
So I have concerns about the language and
concerns about
and the inflatedness of some of the language.
Okay. Okay. So got that.
Thank you.
Okay. And I have Harold.
Thank you so much, Kathy. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
So my clarifying question slash concern, and I think I'll just frame it more as a concern just to not take too much time. Point G about the developing at least one ethics scenario regarding diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. I guess I'm not fully understanding what necessarily that means and how that's different from point F about language and cultural differences, where me personally, as a Hispanic trainee currently, I feel like point F is already very inclusive. And then point G seems to, I don't know, it feels kind of like it's isolating one group from others. So I don't know, I feel a little concerned that they might be conflicting in terms of where one is inviting and one may not, depending on who's reading it.
Okay.
That's all I have to say.
Okay, I do hear that as a clarifying question. First, does anyone from PDC or the working group want to explain where that one came from and what is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yes, I can explain. I'm from the PDC. That was a concern that someone raised about diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, and they did not see it in this document of procedures. So they specifically wanted to ask the Ethics Advisory Committee to develop at least one scenario that would talk to that. So when people did their demonstrations of knowledge, there would be that scenario they could choose from.
Oh, I see. Okay, very, very good. Thanks so much, Catherine.
Okay, so, and Harold, does that resolve your concern?
I think if I'm understanding it correctly, where it's I guess sort of as an example for candidates, then yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Robin.
Hi, thanks. This is, I'm kind of repeating my question slash concern from yesterday. It has to do with the whole added thing. Is between yesterday and today, with all this good work, was this anyone from CCC consulted on this? And so the concern is this is a lot of new work being sent to CCC, and they've got to buy into it, agree to do it.
Okay. I believe Catherine has a
clarifying. Yes, I emailed Joe Krinke, chair of CCC, and sent him all this stuff. And so he knows. He has not emailed me back. And actually, this is not just the CCC. It's a lot of people. And anyone is welcome to help work on this. We need help. Thank you.
Okay. And Sarah.
I spoke with Joe yesterday, and I said we really needed to hear if CCC agreed to this, and he said yes. After a little bit of discussion, he had no resistance to it, but he's very clear about it. Now he's seen this stuff from Catherine, and he said we should do it, and knowing that he would be working with other people. So we do have verbal agreement.
Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, Renee.
Same comment. I also emailed Joe, and he didn't email back screaming and raging. So I would say that's a yes.
Okay. Irene.
I would like to speak to two things. So one is the concern which has been raised because of too much words in the document. From my perspective as a non-native English speaker and a translator for ATI, I feel it is sometimes it is more easy to translate something when some more words come with it, so that I can get the gist out of what there shall be said. So because one word always have 5 different meanings. And when I have some more words, then I know which meaning I can pick. So I would rather to speak to, yeah, I mean, there can be housekeeping on something, but that is also something where there are more words in there, maybe as normally.
Thanks, Irene. And yep, and you had something else.
Yeah, then for H, I had suggested, and I cannot find it right now. I had suggested, gathering data. Oh, Danny, yours, great. Gathering data and publicizing to the membership on the numbers and implication of this policy on a yearly basis. So what I'm interested in here is not a report which is saying that this or that is happening, but I really want to like us to So since in the office now we have implemented a lot of how we can count things, who is applying, where are the people coming from, maybe even in which timing they do it, because I understand that the demonstration of knowledge can be earlier, or one part and then another part later. So I would like to really have some data to make some statistics on this.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So the question is how you could say that in that document.
Right. I think we could probably report regularly to the membership on the data, I mean, that taking the sentence you had, reporting to the membership on the data and whatever the other part of it was. If you can put that in, and the numbers on the data and publishing the numbers.
I think, Catherine, we looked at this earlier. I think maybe the concern was too much details about procedures being put into policy. Maybe, Catherine, was that what you were saying? Why you didn't put all the words in?
I was saying that implications is a problem for me. How do I interpret implications?
Including,
I don't know what implications means.
Okay. So would it resolve your concern if it just said including the data and numbers of demonstrations of knowledge or something?
Yeah,
I'm just
getting a little vague right now.
Okay, let's think about that. We're just about out of time here. So
Kathy, we have 9 minutes because we flew through our beginning part of our agenda today, if you'd like.
Okay, are there any concerns about adding 9 minutes before we move to our light and lively? There's so many hands up. If Mary Lou has a concern about it. Okay. So
I think we
can,
need the light and lively, and I think we all need to speak slower.
okay. Okay, so hearing a concern about that switch, let's go ahead and move to our light and lively with Manuel.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So I'm putting an alarm in order to be sure that I'm not taking more than 3 minutes in this. You can standing up, or you may stay sitting, even lying down as you wish. And I'm offering you to put your attention to your feet and to feel the ground. And within the ground, the earth. And in the earth, there is a mushroom who are making a web. It's an informational web through what trees are in relation. And we can be also in relation with that, with all this information. And I'm offering you to take that in your breath and let the information from the earth, the information from the earth coming through you in breath in and giving back in breath out. And let in within yourself in breath in and giving back in breath out. And with that, when you feel it, you can start to let all this information, all that relationship move you and let you on floating as you rhythm. And even if you feel like you can also make some step or not, it's really up to yourself. And I'm taking the time while we keep going on. And let the breath in inform you and the breath out, giving back to the relation to each other in the last and fourth time of our AGM of this year. And you can look around you and go back to the screen in order to be with each other. And go close to the screen and go away and again around you and bring all that in an all. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Manuel. And we're moving into PDC level 3, resolving concerns for 20 minutes. I'll let you know what I'm thinking about is we continue to gather these, and what we might use that 9 minutes for later is a small breakout room to sort of put all the ideas that we've been gathering together, and so possibly extending our screen break to include a working group time. I'll check in with you later, but that to ask permission for that, but that is what I'm considering.
Who's
Okay, Sarah.
what's
Sarah?
going on with
Okay, we got somebody
Yes,
on.
I'm here.
Okay, Sarah?
Yes.
Okay.
For clarity, I want to offer or wonder if what is being asked for is that we track how membership and application is affected with this new process, how it affects membership. So there may be a completely new way to say it to respond to what Irene is wanting. So it's a different solution
Okay.
to address it.
So Irene, is that accurate for you? Just checking.
Maybe I want to read it. I think what I understood, I guess yes. Sarah is speaking to.
Could someone
Okay.
repeat it?
That we will use data to watch, to observe how this new process affects our membership and all the individuals participating. I'm not trying to write this. I'm just trying to say that's what's
Yeah.
one.
Mhm. Okay. Thank you, Sarah. And Irene, Diane.
Yes, it occurs to me that it could be as simple as on relevant data and instead of relevant data, so that we're not tying anything too specific on relevant data and the observed effects of this new process, period.
Okay, so that's an offer for resolution. Okay, so we've got lots of offers in there. David.
Yes.
David. Okay, there you
Yes.
are.
I'm not sure if I have a concern with what we're talking about right now. Let's see if I can articulate it. As I'm reading all of this, this is essentially our instructions to the CCC and whoever helps them with this process of producing the guidelines and clarifying the procedures. And if we think of it that way, then a lot of these things make sense. They're really instructions for that committee that when they do their work, we want them to know that we want them to include these things. My concern with what we're talking about in this section is this is a whole new task. Tracking data is something more general than just this one issue. And it's a new task we're assigning the CCC to be tracking data and statistics. We may well want to do that, but there are other things that we want to do it with as well. So it really needs its own proposal, I would think. But in the meantime, I'm willing to stand aside on it. So I just want to put that on the record.
Okay. Thank you.
And yeah.
Go ahead.
No, that's okay.
All right. Come back if you need to. Joseph?
Yeah, my concern is when we write data, that we close the whole thing down to specific things. Before we had at the beginning the sentence, it was very clear we can include everything. Now through this data thing, it's actually narrowing the whole scenario down. And my concern is that we have less possibilities through collecting data rather than keep it open and wide and make it available for everybody and for everything.
So what if an offer, report regularly to the membership, I want to say including relevant data and observed effects rather than just on. Report regularly to the membership on this process, including relative data. With something like that, take care of your concern?
Yeah, the thing is, as soon as we put the word data in, it puts the mind into a certain direction. And that's what I want to avoid.
Okay, so your concern is the word data itself?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll need to take a look at that, matching all the concerns. So Diane.
So if data seems, you could just say on any relevant numbers or any relevant stats. I don't know what, I'm not really sure how to
Okay.
pull the analytics out of that, but yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I think Danny is next.
Yeah, I just wonder because of the danger, well, the risk of putting too much specific procedural possibilities in a policy, maybe like Joseph was talking about, maybe there's an overarching reason why the data is desired, and that's what the bullet point is, like report on how it's affecting blah blah blah, and if that means collecting data, then that's a procedure. Just thinking
Okay.
of how you could get the same feeling across without the word data.
Okay, so the question is what is this report trying to go at? What is it that we want to see in that? So everybody consider that question for a moment. I'm going to check in with what looks like Joseph again. We need sound, Joseph.
Why don't we say instead of data, information?
So Irene, if we change data to information, does that take care of your concern?
I think no, because my observation is, and I'm coming back to the analyzing the conditions presence, is that it so for this policy, we had to look for, I mean, for me, it is always helpful to have some numbers so that I do not have to assume what this or that means. So I really like to change our habit in not looking at numbers. But I also like, I don't know what it is, like in scientific methods, you have always quantitative, scientific, and observable.
How about if we quantitative and qualitative information? Would that work? On relevant quantitative and qualitative information?
That's good.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, well, watch the change on the slide here. So, yeah, and I think we could get rid of the rest of that. Okay.
Don't need the rest of it, and the observed effects on something. Just delete the rest of it.
Observed effects of this new process. Or I think the rest could.
Hold on.
Hold on. Don't get rid of it yet. Okay.
How this our membership and all the individual. I don't know whether this is important but the individuals participating. I think that is worthwhile to include this somehow, because if they do not become members, then we never would know what they think about it.
Yeah, and those involved in the process, so that would include everybody. That would include the sponsors. That would include the readers.
Yes.
Okay. So I think we could end with the odd on those involved. Let me take a look, and I'll wait for a moment. Debbie.
You ready for me?
I think so.
Okay, so this is, oh, you just switched. This is kind of a wordsmithing, but to me, it relates to the difficulty we're having here, because right now, the way the document is set up, we're saying these guidelines will report regularly to the membership.
Mm.
And that's just right. So it might be that this isn't even H, this is a separate paragraph.
So CCC reports regularly to the membership.
Whatever it is, because listing it as letter H means it's following the top, which is these
Right.
guidelines will, A, B, C, D, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the
That's true for a
guidelines
few
aren't
of
doing the
these.
reporting, and I just think that's a wordsmithing thing that really needs to be addressed.
It's true for a few of them, yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay, these guidelines. Well, we went at the top. These guidelines will include will include the following. So it's not the following somethings. So that we're not saying the guidelines are doing it, but the guidelines will include the following ideas or okay, CC. Yeah, we'll include the following in the following.
We'll include the following and then change it to specifying, clarifying, writing, suggesting, having.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah, or
so
just
we can
include,
wordsmith.
or just include.
Okay.
Specifying, clarifying, writing,
Yeah. Okay.
suggesting.
So I'm going to suggest that this particular part of it is a wordsmithing thing, and we got it. So if there's and we will have a working group to take a quick look at this. I believe is once we get to see what's happening here. Gabby. Mm. Oh.
I think it's wonderful to have the qualitative and quantitative follow-up, but I want to echo David Mills' comment that it's not just this policy. This is new and we were thinking about it at the moment, but I think it's a broader issue, and it's
okay.
It's not a concern. I just want to make sure that we
an acknowledgement
attend to it. Exactly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Joseph?
Yeah, we need always to think that someone has to do that. And with work overflow, we should not add too many things and make CC really getting them working overload and say, you have to do that and this and this and this. So I feel in concern of making everybody, we have to collect data there and here, makes it just impossible actually to work on the necessary things and on the important things. And to collect data is a nice thing, but I don't know if it's useful.
Okay, so there's a concern about H in several ways. One, that it is not really just applicable to this particular proposal, but probably more widely applicable, and the question about the workload and who is going to do it. Okay, so there's two concerns about H. Irene. I think that's right. Wait, Diane just appeared at the top again. Bye.
Hi. I guess two things. I think that one of the most important pieces of information that I'm sure CC will monitor is, do we get fewer members becoming teaching members? It's not just membership in general, although obviously there's an impact, but it's what does it do to the process of moving along? Thanks. What does it do to the process of moving from a trainee to a teaching member? I think that's an important effect to be observed.
Okay, so
the other thing is, again, a wordsmithing. If you go back to F, there are some more verbs. There are two explore that need to go to exploring.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay. Irene?
I hear the concerns you have. And I would like that you acknowledge that I have a major concern with making this policy is a standard.
This policy what?
Because this policy giving the readers, making the readers the first taking this out of the ATI sponsor scope. So by now we had people can go for the demonstration with of knowledge to their sponsors or participate in the pilot project. Now we are shifting to making the pilot project a task for readers which are not ATI sponsors. So this is a huge change. And I feel that we need to really be clear that that we need some numbers and what is happening here next year, that what is happening about also with all those who are not affiliated to ATI already.
Okay.
And then the other thing I would like to say, I always, since years, I have a concern bringing policies to the memberships and having no numbers. So for me, it would be very clear that you would collect them. And I think Catherine just did it, and it was one question to Kelsey, and she pulled it out. So it is not really difficult anymore.
Okay.
That part, the quantitative part, is not difficult.
Okay. So Irene, just a clarification. The sponsors are still the ones who are evaluating the demonstrations of knowledge. So it's not the readers who are doing that, just as a clarification there. And I hear that the numbers are very important to you, and I hear the reasons why. I wonder if there's something that we can do with H that specifically says that in this particular new process, we want some data over the next couple of years or something. I'm just putting that out there for the moment as a possible resolution for us to think about. I'm going to go to Tanya in a moment. Are there any concerns about adding 5 minutes to this section if we need it? Okay, seeing no concerns, we'll add 5 minutes if we need it. If we don't, well, what I'm going to suggest is that we move to let a smaller group do the wordsmithing on this based on what we've been hearing, so that when we come back, we can see it. So Tanya.
Thank you. I don't know if this is a good solution, but I was thinking a possible solution, because I agree with having the numbers would be helpful. But I also understand Joseph's concern about volunteering and all that. So I was wondering if to have it in H saying, and in the future, reporting regularly, in terms of, because this is a new thing, and we don't know how much work it's going to be. But if we put it already in there, that in the future, we're going to start doing that. I don't know if that's helpful, but that's what I was thinking.
Okay, thank you. Catherine.
Yes, I have a question on the introductory paragraph and want to ask the person, sorry, I forget who we were, who wanted to say undertaken rather than developed. Undertaken to me is a word that we don't use very often in English. Developed is more common, so I'm a little concerned about translating. So why is undertaken, whoever you are, please answer, why is that better than developed?
Who was that?
Sorry. I couldn't scroll on the scribe thing, so I don't know.
Yeah. David.
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 You're muted, David.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I was just going to suggest that the word right would be a good replacement and see if that satisfies the person who suggested, because the guidelines will presumably be written.
The person was Judith
Ah.
Saxton.
I can't see that.
No.
It was because there was to develop in the same sentence.
Mm-hmm.
So written is good.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, that works.
Okay.
If Ruth is happy.
Okay. So we'll take a look at this and look at the parts that we've changed from what we saw in the beginning.
Oh.
Guidelines for developing procedures for teaching candidates and readers will be written and updated as needed by the CCC with input from other relevant committees. These guidelines will include, and then I'm going to go to C, which is the other one that's changed. Writing an invitation to candidates which emphasizes that the demonstration of knowledge as part of the certification process is a learning process, which explains the philosophy of learning and teaching education based on our vision mission. You just saw me do some housekeeping. Having all information about doing the demonstration of knowledge easily available on the ATI website with links on public pages. And down to H, regularly reporting to the membership on relative quantitative and qualitative information and the observed effects of this new process on those involved. That's where we are now. I have somebody's hand up. Public scribe, one of the public scribes.
It's Kelsey.
Okay.
I'm speaking with Irene through private message and just wanted to put out that data collection is fairly easy if we are asking the questions on the front end that we want answered. So anything like how many folks have completed the process and have become teachers afterwards is very easy information to pull. Other items we would need to discuss.
Okay. And Robin?
In keeping with our goal of avoiding acronyms, could we, at the top where it says CCC, put Certification Coordinating Committee?
Certainly.
Just so everybody knows.
Mm-hmm. And David? Yeah, thank you. David?
Yes, another fine point. They're not guidelines for developing procedures. They're guidelines. So perhaps guidelines and procedures for teaching candidates and readers.
Okay. Let's try that. Okay,
to clearly delineate the two.
Okay, our time is up. Amy, where are we in terms of the schedule? Do we have extra time?
We do. We have like 4.5 minutes before we need to go to screen break.
Okay. My suggestion, and is that we take a 10-minute screen break and that the PDC has a small room during that 10-minute break if you're willing, and to recreate this slide. And yes, Catherine?
Speaking from experience, 10 minutes won't be enough. How can we tell you we want more? This is our 30-minute break, yes?
No.
Oh, never mind. Sure, 10 minutes.
10 minutes and see where we are. So anyone who wants to be in this process with the PDC can go to the PDC breakout room, and we'll take, are there any concerns about me making this a 10-minute break? Debbie? Oh, okay.
David,
All right.
will you be in that room? Because I didn't quite hear the change you wanted me to make. at the top.
I'll be there.
Okay, see you there.
Okay, we are on a 10-minute break. Thank you, everybody. Great work. Stay in the room, and we'll see you back in 10.
Kelsey, can you open the, oh, thanks.
Sorry, I'm trying to find it.
Talking slowly and keeping a pace going are both part of the process because pace is actually sometimes useful. All right, welcome back, everybody. And I know that because I was in the room that there's a lot going on in the room. What I would like to offer first is let's go back to the first slide. And Irene, do you need something before we do this?
It was the last question which came up in the group right now, and I think it is worth to ask this question again because it was said that these guidelines would be not policy but procedure, and I would like to clarify that, or if we agree on this, that this is still policy.
Okay.
These are procedural policy. It is a procedural policy which we have in policies and procedure. That's why it is always possible that committees can bring their own procedures into the policies and procedures, but we want to know what the membership had adopted, consented to.
Okay.
So this is somehow weird still.
Okay. So Irene, you're concerned that you don't trust that the committee would honor what we consent to today.
Well, I would not say it like this because this is so harsh for people who are doing volunteer work, and I would never say something like that. But as we know, there are always different people on a committee, and we also have the housekeeping, which is so wonderful that we now have doing it every second year to look in our policies and procedures. So everything which is not policy can be changed. And if somebody says, oh, this is quite difficult, or this is, it doesn't make sense to me, it will be gone. And I think it is, we also need to value that here the members would say this is relevant, we want to do that.
Okay. And the fact that it's a policy information attached to a consented proposal run by people who share your values, and looking at the bylaws and all of that. I guess I'm gonna wonder, I'm just put that question out there. And as you said, is it possible to trust? Because of course the reason they're procedures is because they might need to change. We might find out something in doing them that needs changing. And if they're actual policy, then we have to come back to the formal consensus process. So in the spirit, so I'm just putting that out there to think about. And I'm going to suggest that we move to go to the first slide and come back to this, and just think about the situation, because I think we're really deeply valuing all these things with the time and the care that we're all taking with it. But can we go to this first slide and come back to this one? Okay. So I'm going to suggest that we look at this in two parts. just to, and then we'll look at it all together again. But looking at this particular, the proposal part, candidates for an ATI teaching certificate demonstrate their knowledge by 1, responding to the prompts for each of the demonstrations of knowledge, Alexander's writings, anatomy, and ethics, in either video, audio, or written form. 2, submitting each of their 3 demonstrations of knowledge for review to an ATI designated reader. And 3, submitting the 3 demonstrations of knowledge to their ATI sponsors. Are there any concerns about slide 1? Okay, let's move to slide 2. Okay. And I will read this. I'll read the parts that were changed, actually. Guidelines for developing procedures for teaching candidates and readers will be written and updated as needed by the Certification Coordinating Committee with input from other relevant committees. These guidelines will include, I guess I will read all of them, specifying the qualifications and process for becoming a reader, clarifying the roles of reader, candidate, and ATI sponsor, writing an invitation to candidates which emphasizes that the demonstration of knowledge is part of the certification, as part of the certification process, is a learning process which explains the philosophy of learning and teaching education based on our vision mission, suggesting ways to train people, readers, and ATI sponsors about the demonstrations of knowledge, having all information about doing the demonstrations of knowledge easily available on the ATI website with links on public pages. When implementing this policy, being sensitive to language and cultural differences, including differences in learning patterns, exploring how we can recruit readers in all of ATI's languages, exploring the possibility of using interpreters. G, asking the Ethics Advisory Committee to develop at least one ethics scenario regarding diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. There will be, and this in a new separate paragraph, there will be regular reporting to the membership on relevant quantitative and qualitative information and the observed effects of the new process on those involved. And I'm going to suggest striking in the future we'll be doing this. So I'll read that last one again. You'll see H has become its own paragraph. There will be regular reporting to the membership on relevant quantitative and qualitative information and the observed effects of this new process on those involved. Okay. Are there any concerns about this particular one? Diane.
Yes, this really is about linking slide 2 to slide 1. And as I recall, when Irene showed us the message example from a prior policy, I think in 2004, it said something like, when this policy was approved, there were unresolved concerns, and then listed the unresolved concerns. And that was done to make sure that the information would be there for all future 20 years, 30 years in the future. People who wanted to refer to the motivations behind concerns.
So Diane, can I just interrupt a second? These will be with the policy in exactly that way, but they won't be listed as concerns. They will be, this is what the membership said at the time. This is what the membership asked for.
So it would say something like membership approved this policy.
Consented to this policy.
Okay, consented to this policy with the following provisos. I mean, what is the language going to read?
Okay, so you would like something at the top that says that, okay.
That clearly links them so they never get separated. Unintentionally, it happens.
Okay, take a look over there, Bill.
I have minor. Can I go on?
You can go on and then we'll.
Yeah. Okay. I have minor, but important to me, wordsmithing on C and G. Where and when do I offer those?
So wordsmithing?
Yep.
I think you can offer them after, or Catherine?
Well, we have a 30-minute break. We can
do.
meet in the PDC room.
All right, I'll come.
Thank
you.
Okay,
let me check in with my timekeepers. Do we have time in the second half to add 10 minutes?
Unfortunately, we do not. And also we are 2 minutes behind, almost 3 now. So we will be about a 27-minute break.
Okay. So let's take a look. Okay. So we're at an interesting point. We have some wordsmithing on the second one, including this policy was consented to with the following. I guess my offer is are there any concerns and this with running 10 minutes over on the second half of the meeting? Because I think we're very, very close. Are there any concerns? And I think that it's this idea of this policy was consented to with the following guidelines for developing procedures for teaching candidates and readers. I'm wondering, Irene, if that takes care of your concern. But okay, so Harold, do you have a concern with extending?
Sure, mine is personal, but I'll share it. It's that I'm teaching a practicum lesson right after, so I guess I could leave right at 11:30, but I'd love to stay, so it doesn't have to really affect the flow if necessary.
Okay. So we'll make sure you're included if we run over in some way. You can. Okay. Any other concerns? Okay, so I'm.
Could also make the break slightly shorter, 20 minutes or something.
Although people, if anyone's coming for the second half of the meeting, but
yeah.
Okay, agenda planners, 20-minute break or 10 minutes over?
Are you asking for a 20-minute screen, that 30-minute break becoming a 20-minute break? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Definitely 20 minutes. As a PDC person, I'm saying that, not a agenda planner. I think we can get through this in 20 minutes.
What I would recommend is that we take a shorter break, but we start at the right time and we know that we're going to run 10 minutes over.
Okay, so we're going to run over now and then, okay. Got it.
No, we're going to go to the screen break time so that small group can work on this. And then we can come back, just as we would do if we had a 30-minute break.
Right.
So we're going to break up.
We're not quite there yet.
We're not there yet. We have a few more things to do.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to finish our agenda for the first half and then take the break. So we start at the same time. Thank you, agenda planning. Thank you, everybody. And we will move now to announcements for 5 minutes. So
yesterday, Mary Lou, JC Beauty, could explain the structure of ATI with her comparison to an umbrella.
Early this year, the newly formed 2024 Policies and Procedures Working Group of Maria Springhordis, Debbie Adams, Teresa Lee, Julie Mulvihill, and myself
Maria, could you slow down, please? Thank
asked,
you.
asked the committees to send us their updated procedures. Once these were incorporated, the Vision Mission Committee and the board went into further detail. As of November 8th, you can all view the document. We have extended the deadline to November 22nd, this Friday. Kelsey will soon send the link once more to you. Thank you.
Okay. Julie?
It's there for you to see, but I will read it. The exchange is hoping to boost our archives. Do you have hard copies of old exchanges? Do you have a digital copy of an article that you submitted to the exchange before 6 years ago? Send me what you have.
And Catherine. Oops. I will, so there's a there you go.
I'm sorry. There is a vision mission report in the AGM base camp, and this is about eventually rewriting our vision mission. If you want to get involved, read that and contact me. I should have put my email down there. I'll throw it in the general chat. We'll get started after the first of the year. Thank you.
Thank you, announcers. And we're moving to the 2025 conference.
Hi, everyone. There is going to be a conference of some kind next year. What it will look like is yet to be determined. So I will just say very quickly, I want to introduce one of the co-coordinators for next year is Ariel Weiss. Can we have her on the screen, Kelsey, somewhere? No, is she here?
I am here.
Okay. I'm not seeing her on my view.
Once she starts speaking, she should pop up.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. I'm here. Can you see me now?
Anyway, I will very quickly just say that we have a venue. We have been there before. I'm going to screen share this now. It is Pendle Hill, just outside of Philadelphia. And the dates, the exact dates will be determined, but it is during our kind of regular second to third week of October. Please mark your calendars for, sorry, I can't do this very elegantly. Please mark your calendars for the date window of October, this is not, October the 18th through the 24th, depending on whether the annual conference will be combined with the AGM again or not. Consensus seems to be that we want to reinstate the pre-day, but of course that hasn't officially been determined either. So please stay tuned for the updated information that once, and also just want to make a pitch for everyone, please filling out the surveys that are going to go around to get feedback back from everyone about this year's conference, and both the in-person conference and the AGM. Please fill out those surveys when they come, and your voice will be very valuable in making the decision about how we move forward with the models for our conferences. Welcome, welcome to Philadelphia next year.
We're excited to have you all back after 10 years.
Yes, we have been there before. Yes. And thank you, Ariel.
Of course, I just want to give a quick shout out to Amy Ward-Brimmer, who will be my co-site coordinator, just to give her some love.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
And that on a very personal note, I'll be very quick. I want to give a heartfelt thanks to ATI for all of the love that you've shown and the prayers and thoughts about the Hurricane Helene devastation in North Carolina, East Tennessee, also Florida, even though we didn't have our conference there, and South Carolina, the whole region. And many of our members live in these areas affected by Helene. Thank you. We have felt the love. I am done.
Okay. Okay. Great. Thank you, Teresa. And we're moving to APC pre-break announcements for 2 minutes.
Now we have a 30-minute break. Please stay logged into the Zoom meeting. Sorry?
Sarah, we have a 20-minute break.
Sorry. Now we have a 20-minute break. Please stay logged into the Zoom meeting. If you'd like a screen break, turn off your audio and video. If you'd like to chat, you can join a breakout room by clicking on the breakout rooms icon in your bottom Zoom toolbar. If you don't see this icon, click on the 3 dots or click More to find it. Then select the room of your choice, such as a meeting room for AGM business, for PDC, or small talk rooms to chat in smaller groups. Or you can chat in the main room. You can return to View, Gallery View to see everyone. When you leave the breakout room, don't leave the meeting. How to watch meeting recording: if you go to the AGM Basecamp, Docs and Files, and then click on Meeting Recordings, this meeting's recording will be uploaded by tomorrow morning.
Okay. Thank you. We're on break, and there will be a PDC room open, and we'll come back.
We're only 2 minutes behind. Does that mean the break's longer or we start the second part earlier? Mary Lou?
We start early.
Okay.
Yeah. So 7:22 or whatever time it is where you are. Okay. 22 minutes after.
So begin the 20-minute timer, and I will try to find mine too to do it. Thank you.
Is Kathy still here? Ah, there she is.
Welcome back, everybody. And wonderful, wonderful work going on in the meeting and in the breakout room. I believe we have 10 minutes for this new section. Is that correct? Agenda planners? Okay. So I would invite the report from the breakout room, particularly looking at that second page. You can see they were very busy responding. So I will read the changes. This policy proposal was consented to with the following instructions. The Certification Coordinating Committee, with input from other relevant committees, will write and update procedures in the following areas. A, specifying the qualifications and process for becoming a reader. B, clarifying the roles of reader, candidate, and ATI sponsor. C, writing an invitation to candidates, which emphasizes that the demonstration of knowledge is a learning process which explains the philosophy of learning and teaching / education based on our vision / mission. D, suggesting ways to train people, readers, and ATI sponsors about the demonstration of knowledge. E, having all information about doing the demonstration of knowledge easily available on the ATI website with links on public pages. F, asking the Ethics Advisory Committee to develop at least one ethics scenario regarding diversity, equity, inclusion. Our former F was moved to its own paragraph. When implementing this policy, being sensitive to language and cultural differences, including differences in learning patterns, exploring how we can recruit readers in all of ATI's languages, and exploring the possibility of using interpreters. There will be regular reporting to the membership with relevant quantitative and qualitative information and the observed effects of this process on those involved. And just a second, I got to get my participants box back up. There we go. So take a look at that. And grammar aside, so we can polish up grammar, are there any unresolved concerns? Are there any unresolved concerns? Okay.
Quick question. I'm sorry, at the critical moment here. Do we want to specify that the CCC will report regularly to the membership?
Is that something you would?
No.
No, we don't know who's going to do it. So that's some flexibility there.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Joe. Renee?
Sorry, it's not unresolved. I was thinking it would be more like the office reporting. Sorry, Kelsey.
Okay. Yeah, so so to be determined. Okay. Are there any unresolved concerns? Seeing no concerns, we have consensus on page 2, and in fact, we had consensus earlier on page 1. So, hearing no concerns, we have consensus. See what a beautiful process this is. We honored everybody's concerns. We found a way to do it. We worked through it. Bravo us. Bravo us. Thank you. And I will turn the facilitation over to Mary Lou Chasey.
You're muted, Mary
And
Lou.
I need to unmute. Thank you. We are now at our 4th AGM of 2024, part 2. And the agenda will be pasted in the chat, and I'm going to ask somebody from APC to do that because I'm facilitating. Thank you. Now we can hear from our continuing education committee, and they will have a brief questions and answers following their report. The presenters are Jana Tiff and Teresa Lee. You might want to choose multi-speaker view from view during this report, and we have 15 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Lou. And Jana, we need your sound on.
Okay, I'll turn it on. Hi, everybody. I'm Jana Tift.
And Teresa Lee. And I am now switching hats to my co-chair of Continuing Education Committee. And welcome. And we just wanted to take a few minutes to just give you a little bit more information and an invitation again to the wonderful process of reporting your continuing education with ATI. So we're going to start out with something a little bit fun, right? Everybody who has their camera on, just like to ask, and it's great to leave it in group view or whole group view for this next little game. So everyone turn your camera off, your video off, please. If this next statement applies to you, turn it back on. Ready? Who here has completed your first round of continuing education reporting? And look at the screen. If you have bingo, you can yell bingo.
If you're not a teaching member, of course, you haven't done that.
Yeah. Oh, I have bingo. Bingo is like if everybody on your screen, up and down or across or diagonal, is lit up. Anybody else got bingo? Heck yeah. Okay. Screens off again. Cameras off again. Who here has visited all, be honest, of the continuing education pages on the ATI website, including the experiences and opportunities page? Put your camera on if you have visited all of those pages on the website. Look at that.
I have bingo again, I just want to say.
I do too. Look at you guys. You awesome, engaged ATI teaching members. All right, last one, last bingo. All right, cameras off again. Who here is new to ATI or is a new teacher and you have not yet reported your continuing education? New to ATI and you have not yet reported your continuing education. We really want to see you. We love every one of you, but we really want to see our I used to teach university, and I'd call these my freshies. Here are the freshies. The first years. Yay. Okay, wonderful. So now, if you wish, everyone can turn your cameras back on so we can see your faces if you care to. And I'm going to pitch it to Jana.
We want to acknowledge you for reporting. We want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. One of the things that happens when you report is that we know more about what our members are doing in their lives in the world. It creates a sense of community. It's one of the reasons we started the experiences and opportunities page, so that everybody, not just our little committee, could see the kinds of amazing and wonderful projects that you are involved in. We have just completed our first round of reporting. Everybody reports once every 3 years, and we just got through the 3-year cycle and are now starting with group 1 again. We want to thank you for participating in the survey, because we received so much valuable information from you, and we are honing the process to make it easier for you to report, to give you more regular reminders during the year that it's your turn to report. Many people said, I meant to report. It just slipped off my radar. So we're doing more in that area. And we're also working with Kelsey, bless you, Kelsey, to do a better job of notifying you once you've reported and to get your acknowledgments to you. So that's where we are. And we thank you. Teresa,
Okay.
your turn.
Okay, thanks, Jana. So just a quick screen share. We will not be going through in detail on the website, but did want to just point you to where it is, especially for the folks who have not yet engaged in the reporting process. So let me just do a quick screen share and hopefully, hopefully it will work. Well, go up here. You can see my gajillion tabs that are open. Don't look at that. Okay, so here we are on the ATI website. Now, I have already actually logged in as a member. So you would need to do a member login. All right. But we did just want to point out one more time, if you go to member pages where this is highlighted, and scroll down, I'm going to need to, how do I move this little bar so I don't, okay, good. My bar was covering. So you scroll down to continuing education. You have to keep your finger on the mouse or the keypad and scroll over to the first is instructions and frequently asked questions. Now, when you log in, make sure that you check the little box that says keep me logged in so you can navigate through all of this. This page explains what continuing education is. And for us, we really want to emphasize that this is, continuing education is what strengthens us as an organization. And so here's a link to the policies and procedures page that explains it all, the 3 categories that you can report in: Alexander Technique Study, service to ATI, in the form of board or committee participation. It says these things listed here, but actually there are more things you can do as service to ATI, because it says it being an ATI sponsor, and now it seems as though the being a reader could also be considered service to ATI. So there you go. Everybody put your name in to be a reader. Complementary study, professional business practices, and it explains in more detail what those things are. We want to give some time for questions. So there are instructions for reporting your continuing education there, including a video that will take you through. There is also a means whereby you can apply for an extension if circumstances mean that you have not been able to get your reporting done. There's a frequently asked questions there. This is the most important page, I think, to start with. You can go back. The back button or back arrow does work, just to let you know that. There's continuing education, experiences and opportunities page. Doesn't seem to be, it's very slow. And there, this is a great interview that was just done with Diane Faust, our outgoing secretary, ATI secretary, talking about service to ATI and the valuable experiences there. So we invite you to look at that. We are, this creative project has been up there for a little while with Gabby and Sarah Barker, and we are going to be rotating some of these experiences, hopefully on a more regular basis. We're working on the website now. There's also, if you go all the way to the bottom, if you're looking for other opportunities to fulfill your CE, that is on this page as well. Okay, and then I know I'm going quickly, but there is the actual reporting form itself is on a different link that is designated. This is the tricky part. And then there's a tracking feature for those who would like to record their CE and keep a running track, and it will run a report for you. We are going to
Just like to say the tracking feature is awesome.
Yeah. We are this is where you can really share in the work that we're doing. It's where we celebrate our teaching community and also get inspiration. So we really want to invite you to look at that. We're also going to be doing a more detailed workshop later on, and that'll be stay tuned for that. You'll get a notice for that. So we want to make sure we have a few minutes for questions. Robin.
Hello, friends. I have a question because I'm in, I guess, group 3 or group 1, which is coming up around again. Now, am I remembering this correctly that before we started the reporting, how shall I say, our esteemed elders had to report once and then you're done for the rest of your life? I'm remembering.
Yes, you are, and I'm glad you asked that question because it will, in the notice that's coming out to report, there should be language, you'll see language in there that says, if you received a notice that you are exempt from reporting again, then you have the option to not report ever again, but you still have the option to, if you'd like to keep, kind of sharing your experiences.
Okay, so you will be sending out?
Yes.
Okay, because I got the one with the cute meerkats.
Yeah, that was be on the lookout.
Do this? Okay, thank you.
Be on the lookout because there's so many ATI emails come into our inbox. That was kind of like prompting everybody to say, hey, this is coming, right? So, yeah. But thank you for asking. Yes, if you're exempt, you will still be exempt. We have 2 minutes. David? Hi, David Owen.
Hi. Right. So I don't need to take that out. I've only been a member since May, and I've only been teaching for 34 years. And I'm wondering about, is there a way for me to get this coveted ATI logo somewhat sooner than 3 years' time?
Oh.
That question has not come up before. It's a good one.
Are you a teaching member of ATI?
Yes.
Yes, you're a teaching member of ATI. Okay.
And just joined this year. So
yes.
So I should be able to get you that because you just joined. Yes. So I will follow up with you, David.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kelsey.
We have just slightly under a minute. Any other questions? And we do want to just say to everyone, we'll put our email in the chat again, continuing education at Alexander Technique International.org. And please feel free to email if you have other questions or if you need help. We have walked people through the whole process that needed it. So Irene, the tracking feature is great we agree. Yeah, it is. And you can run a report for any years you need to see. So I'm not seeing Jana. Do you see any other questions?
I don't. And our time's up.
Yes. Thank you all for participating with continuing education. Thank you.
We think you're great.
And those two actors know how to hit their mark. They ended. Boom.
There's there's a show of hands. I'm going to have to mute people now. Okay. There was a show of hands of appreciation. I want to mention that you can contact the committee if you have questions. Anytime you can contact the committee. You know the chairs now, or the co-chairs. Our next item on our agenda is the results of our election. Diane Sales will be presenting this, and she will have 10 minutes. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for voting. And now we're ready to reveal the results. The next slide, please. For the executive board, everyone who ran was elected. Renee Jackson as the board co-chair, Sean Copeland as the treasurer, Rachel, I always never say your name right, Prabhakar as the board secretary, Kirika Roruman Nakamura as the executive director number 1, Irma Hess as executive director number 2, and we still have an opening on the board for executive director number 3. Actually, I put executive and it should have been board. That's what happens when you do it at 6 in the morning. Apologies. Next, and for the membership committees, everyone who ran was indeed elected. We still have an opening at membership committee. We still have an opening on nominations for a co-chair with deep experience in membership. In the teacher competence branch, Joe Cranky and Paul Kalina were elected as co-chairs. Joe was elected last year as chair, so we're just affirming the change in the title to co-chair. Under guidance and governance, we have a bunch of people on ethics advisory, Marilyn Carpenter and Manuel Burgel. I might have mispronounced your last name, Manuel, so if I did, I apologize. They were elected to co-chairs of the EAC. Sean Redpath will be joining. Eloisa Gravina, who was appointed by the board, is now elected into her position. And then on formal consensus planning, Bridget was confirmed as a co-chair, with Sarah being also elected as a co-chair. She had been appointed. And on conference planning, we can welcome Jennifer McCarris to the Agenda Planning Committee Chair and Clara Sandler to the Workshop Planning Committee Chair. So let's give a hand for everybody. And then one more slide. For the unfilled positions, I would love to hear from you, and here is my information. Please feel free to get a hold of me at any time. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane.
There's a hand raised. There's a hand raised.
And Jim?
Yes, thank you, Diane. I'm wondering, will we be able to see the actual voting numbers for all of this?
It's really a simple majority. So I don't think we've ever published those in the past. So let me get back to you on that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Jim.
Was there another question?
I don't see any other questions. Okay. Hands raised. Thank you, Jim, and thank you, Diane. And now we have a light and lively from Victoria Dorr.
Thank you very much. So the invitation is to imagine ourselves, if you would like, it is only an invitation, to be outdoors, and the weather is the weather of our choice. And we can sit in this weather or we can stand. And if we start with the weather, where we can actually gather in some clouds. So this is Qigong inspired playing. So maybe just start by gathering in some water vapor, very light, unthreatening water vapor. And when we've got a nice bundle of it, if we take a step forward and diagonally, not to put too fine a detail on it if you'd like, and then we can throw our water vapor out and sweep it aside. So we can part the clouds and we can bring it back up again and we can sweep it out. So we're moving from back to front and we're going diagonally just to get a bit of a variation. So parting the clouds, bringing back the water vapor, parting the clouds and bringing back the water vapor. And then let's come back to the center and just gather a little bit more in. So we've got plenty of cloud material. And then let's step diagonally forward to the other side, part the clouds, bring them up and part them again. So we're playing with this light, beautiful cloud material, parting the clouds, bringing it back, and then let's step in again and maybe moving from clouds to actually flying through the sky. So if you would like to join in a bit of flight, we could take our arms out and we can float them down. And we can get a little bit ornamental at the bottom if we like, and we can cross them over and we can cross them a different way each time we come down. We can go up and we can come down across them with our beautiful wings. And if you want to come up onto the tiptoes at the top and then letting the knees release at the bottom, then that's just very nice. So we can fly through this sky that we have cleared of clouds. We're just getting a little bit of rhythmic flying here. Whee, down, and then up. And let's have a couple more flaps of the wings, and then let's bring ourselves down to land. And it's beautiful water here. So we can just stand in the water, whatever temperature water you would like. And we can float our hands on the water. We can just bring a little bit of turn. If we want to do a bit of turning, a little bit of turning. And there we go. It's 3 minutes. So we can float off on the water. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you, Victoria. And thank you, timekeeper. I did not tell you that it was 3 minutes long. Thank you for knowing that. At this point, we have some awards. And the presenters are our co-chairs, Maria Weiss and Gabriella. I think of her as Gabby. Thank you for.
Thank you. We're actually going to share the joy of speaking about the awards among different board members. So although you listed Maria and I, we will have a few other voices and faces. But before we start with the awards, it's really a pleasure to take a moment and think about everybody who is contributing to our organization and to Alexander Technique worldwide. So an overall thank you, and now the specifics. And Renee, I think you are going to read the first award.
The first award is a Cauliflower Award to Bill Conable. The ATI Board of Directors is delighted to nominate Bill Conable to receive the Cauliflower Award for 2024. Bill has been an Alexander teacher for over 50 years. He has been a member of ATI since 1994, and his steady wisdom, good humor, and well thought out input have benefited all of us. He served as co-chair of the Agenda Planning Committee between 2018 and 2020, and has served on the board as its treasurer for the last 4 years. Bill has cultivated a strong working relationship with Synergos and has been meticulous in his record keeping of ATI's finances. He has been quick to communicate with the bank and seek legal advice when needed. With an eye towards the unique aspect of ATI as an international organization, he has worked hard to create fair dues tiers that reflect the various countries in which we have members. Bill has contributed to the board through ongoing thoughtful considerations of the various aspects of the work on the board. It is a great pleasure to hand, virtually, Bill Conable the Cauliflower Award for his many years of service and dedication to ATI. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill, wherever you are. Thank you. Kirika will speak about our next award.
Yes, there is one more Cauliflower Award. The ATI Board of Directors is excited to nominate Diana Faust to receive the Cauliflower Award for 2024. Diana has been a member of ATI since 2007 and has served as chair of the membership committee between 2018 and 2020. Prior to that, she has a member of the membership committee between 2013 to 2018. Over the last 4 years, she has served on the board as a director and as a secretary. Diana has worked endless hours to organize ATI's documents on Basecamp and move away from Dropbox. She is always happy to help. She is an expert in finding documents and scanning them to retrieve the pertinent information for any given question. She has been such an asset to the board by providing thorough minutes for all the board meetings and keeping track of various tasks that needs the board's attention. With a quiet and always supportive tone and with many smiles, Diana makes the work of the board run smoothly. It's a great pleasure to hand Diana Faust the Cauliflower Award for her many years of service and dedication to ATI. With big love.
Thank you, Kirika, and thank you, Diane. It's horrible that I can't see, but oh, hi. Now I see where you are. Note taker. All right, I have the pleasure of speaking about our next Cauliflower Award recipient. The ATI Board of Directors is excited to nominate Dr. Maria Weiss to receive the Cauliflower Award for 2024 for her wonderful contributions to Alexander Technique International. Maria joined ATI in 2012. She served on the Ethics Advisory Committee as one of its members from 2016 to 2018. She was the site coordinator for Berlin in 2022, and she has served on the board since 2020. Maria served as co-chair of the board between 2022 and 2023 with Rosa Luisa, and over the last year with me, working very well together, tirelessly throughout all these years. As co-chair of ATI, Maria has brought both inspiration and an incredible work ethic. She's always able to dig through Basecamp and to immediately find the needed information. She's masterful in creating elaborate diagrams and charts for our organization. She's diligent in following timelines and making sure that the tasks are done in a timely fashion. She's able to hold together what has been done on the board and what will move us forward as an organization by attending to details and holding the bigger picture at the same time. She's hardworking, efficient, and diligent as a teacher, colleague, and a board member. With a unique sense of humor and calm, Maria has made the time on the board pleasurable and productive. We know that Maria will continue to contribute to ATI and to her private practice and her teacher training, and we hope that she will not be too far away from ATI's committees and board. Maria, we wish you all the best with what is ahead, and we assure you that we will stay in touch. We thank you so deeply. Okay, so these were the cauliflowers. This is my pretend cauliflower. And we are now moving to the Distinguished Service Award, and Bill is going to speak about the first one. Bill, yeah.
I've taken care of it. This is so powerful that you should be able to get it even without hearing my voice. The ATI Board of Directors is awarding Teresa Lee the 2024 Distinguished Service Award for her role as Chair of Site Committee, for her dedication and hard work towards a smooth conference at Gaunt's House. We are so appreciative of her organizational skills and grace under pressure. As board liaison to the conference planning branch, I want to add that I've had the pleasure of working closely with Teresa over the past year and greatly admire her patience, perseverance, and intelligence in dealing with what were often difficult circumstances. Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you, Bill. Diane is going to speak about the next service award.
The ATI Board of Directors is awarding Danny Loesch the 2024 Distinguished Service Award for her role as chair of the Agenda Planning Committee, for freely giving of herself to ensure a smooth conference and AGM, as well as the steady online forum throughout the year. With generosity and grace, Danny's incredible organizational skills have kept the committee on track and supported the workings of ATI. Thank you, Danny, for your skillful contributions.
Thank you, Diane. Maria, the next one is for you to read, please.
The ATI Board of Directors is awarding Tanya Canas the 2024 Distinguished Service Award for her service to ATI. Tanya has worked extensively with the international groups and took on the role of interim chair of membership committee. Tanya's skills in leading the county groups has created a supportive environment where seasoned and new members have been invited to participate and learn about ATI. She brought commitment, clarity, and energy to her work within the membership branch, offering endless hours and taking on new tasks as needed. She invited many members to participate in ATI County Group meetings. The ATI Board of Directors appreciates Tanya's contributions to our organization. Thank you, Tanya.
Kirka, will you please read the next one?
The ATI Board of Directors is awarding Dana Calvey the 2024 Distinguished Service Award for her service in the membership committee. Dana's tireless commitment during the years of being chair of nominations committee and chair of membership committee has contributed to ATI's professionalism. Dana organized and ran many social awards for the members, initiated and helped plan Awareness Month, worked tirelessly on creating a roadmap of our teaching members, and found creative ways to engage in social media to enhance the profile and awareness of Alexander technique and ATI in social media. For her unique and creative contributions, ATI and all its members are very grateful to you, Dana, even she's not here.
She will get a copy of this.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So this year we on the board decided it's not enough to have cauliflower or distinguished award. We wanted one more special mention, and we created this new category called Letters of Special Recognition, and we are awarding 2 of them. Rachel, would you read the first one, please?
Personally, I'm extremely delighted and happy to be reading this award. The ATI Board of Directors wishes to recognize all the work that has been done by the Professional Development Committee since the inception of ATI in developing the teaching of the Alexander Technique as a profession. All PDC members from 1992 to 2024, whose work includes establishing a theory and body of knowledge, an examination of how the technique is used and taught, definitions for commonly used terms, the ATI criteria, and the prompts for the 3 demonstrations of knowledge. In this work, they continually ask members for feedback, led workshops for members, teacher trainers, and ATI sponsors on the content of the prompts and the process for responding to each. They administered the pilot project for the demonstrations of knowledge, and that work led to the proposal that we have just consented to today. The ATI Board of Directors appreciates the many hours and efforts that have been devoted to this process that reflects ATI's values around the certification of new teachers.
So when we put this together, we tried to name the people involved, and they are too many to name here. And hopefully we can find them and when we send them the letter of special recognition. And the last one is for the working of the Policies and Procedure Working Group. The ATI Board of Directors wishes to recognize the contributions of the members of the Policies and Procedures Working Group, Maria Spring-Cordes, Maria Weiss, Debbie Adams, Teresa Lee, and Julie Mulvihill, have worked countless hours reviewing, checking, and updating the Policies and Procedures document. The updated document will serve ATI, its board, committees, and members in the coming years. So thank you very much. Yay, it's time. But we need a little more time.
Thank you, Gabby. The board has requested 5 more minutes. If there are any concerns about extending the meeting 5 more minutes in length, I would like to see your hand if there are concerns about extending the length of this meeting by 5 minutes. Take it away, Gabby.
Well, Maria, we might not need 5, but we want to welcome Renee in a more formal setting with all of us as our new co-chair. So Maria, you say you're welcome, and then I will say the last goodbye.
Yeah, it's now time for me to say, and it's quite hard to say goodbye. Because first, I like to thank Gabby for all her support, dedication, thoughtfulness through our time together. Gabby, your ability to express complex topics in easily understandable language is remarkable. In our weekly 9-minute-long meetings, we worked on many topics in a very constructive way. A big thank you to you. I would also like to thank all the members of the board. They were willing to attend additional meetings when we had urgent issues to resolve. To all of you, thank you. It was a wonderful board to serve on. I will miss you. And now it's the time to pass the torch to Renee. I had the chance to work with Renee the last year. And Renee, with your historical background and your calm and considered demeanor, I trust that you will fulfill your role as ATI co-chair along with Gabi, so that ATI can thrive, develop, and grow. A deep felt thank you for all your support and trust. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. I just want to take half a sentence and say thank you to Kelsey and to the office for all the support Synergos has given us all the time, and to be available even on your honeymoon for one more question. So deep appreciation. Thank you so much. Thank you for everybody whose name was mentioned or maybe not has been mentioned, for everything that you have done, and hopefully what we will all continue to do for ATI, whether it's on committees, in between meetings, and teaching and speaking about Alexander Technique and about ATI. Renee, it's so great to start to get to know you a bit more. And so for starters, I think we scheduled the next 9 meetings and there will be many more to come. So just a moment of gratitude to all of us and looking forward to a great year together. That's it. I don't need the next 2
Thank
minutes.
you. Thank you, Gabby, and thank you, Maria. And congratulations to all of the award winners. I have seen them all working very hard, and I appreciate them, as do all of ATI. At this point, it has been suggested that we move on to just a little bit of a fingers to the top of the very world and fingers to the floor, and a little of this and a little of that. Somebody asked me to do that, so I did it. So, and you've all done it, so thank you. On our, I don't believe we have ending it's not on our agenda. Ending announcements are not on our agenda. I think
Oh,
we
that
are.
was my mistake. Oops.
Thank you. So at this point, we have our meeting evaluations, and we are going to have evaluations of this meeting. And then after that, we will have evaluations of all of the meetings. And Sarah is our newest member of Agenda Planning Committee, and she is going to facilitate. She is also the co-chair of Formal Consensus Process Committee. So Sarah, welcome to facilitation.
Thank you. So
Sarah
at this,
has 5 minutes. Sorry, I didn't say that. 5 minutes. Thank you.
Yep. So at this time, I invite you to share any evaluations you may have for this 4th meeting only. We'll take the next 5 minutes. Sarah Barker.
I've been part of ATI since 2006, and I want to just acknowledge this amazingly well-run meetings by people who have really perfected the ability to do that. And part of that is to say how much I enjoyed watching the dawn behind Kathy and all of the people on the West Coast who were willing to get up and start the meeting at 5:30 in the morning.
Thank you. Julie.
I experienced in this particular meeting today a amazing amount of attention from all of you and all of us, and I thought particularly around literary needs, and I wanted to say how much I appreciated the scribes and the I think Danny was doing documentation inside the document, and how much I appreciate that, because there was a lot of literary criticisms and suggestions coming into play. And so with the levity and cheek that I have, I would invite those of you with those literary skills to contribute to the exchange.
Thanks, Julie. Debbie.
I want to especially thank Agenda Planning for allotting enough time for us to actually bring that proposal to consensus.
Yes, thank you.
We all allowed enough time, Debbie. Every last person in this room.
All right. Gabby. I think you are muted.
It's raising the hand or muting. I do one or not the other. I'm just so happy not to have a pilot project, but to have the demonstration of knowledge as a part of our process of certification. Thank you all.
Thank you. And Antoinette?
I echo all the compliments about how well it was run, and especially I appreciated the transparency of letting us know why decisions, why changes were made. It was really helpful, and also a very exciting ride. I'm getting to know how quick I am to react, and there was a lot of inhibition in the room everywhere, I think.
Thank you. Teresa?
I just want to echo again a huge acknowledgement and appreciation for Danny Loesch and the whole agenda planning team for these meetings, all 4 of these meetings. There is an enormous amount of work and planning that goes into these meetings taking place and coordinating everyone, all the moving parts. And they're countless moving parts. So, gosh, we're gonna miss you, Danny, but thank you. Thank you. And Kelsey, thank you.
Tommy.
Well, I'll echo everybody, what everybody said, because it's all quite real and quite moving. And I guess that's the major thing I take away from today's meeting is it's been a very moving experience to witness the growth and the continued growth of ATI. And the Agenda Planning Committee, I mean, I just sit back and marvel at everything you've done. All the committees, and then finally seeing the PDC, which has been, they have been working on what we have just witnessed for a very, very long time. And to acknowledge them in the way that you've done it is quite moving as well. I thank you all.
Thank you, Tommy. David and Catherine, I promise we'll get to your evaluations, but we are going to open up the floor for evaluations for all 4 meetings. And we would definitely appreciate any evaluations that may help us improve meetings, that also may talk about your experience having the AGM separate from the annual conference. David, go ahead.
Well, mine applies to the entire AGM, so that's good. A special thanks to all the people who were willing to give up their break times to do all the behind the scenes work to make things happen, and appreciation for our collective persistence of starting by knowing we were going to do something and sticking with it to the end until we got it done. And finally, special, once again, thanks to Kelsey witnessing her at several of the green rooms before these meetings, as well as the meetings, the number of times that she said when somebody asked for something, "Oh, I just did that," or some version of "just a sec, okay, it's done," was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Catherine.
My first hand is for today's meeting, which is there are two comments in the chat. Let's not lose them. The comment about the overall all four meetings is, I assume the board picked these 2 weekends. Thank you so much for making the first meeting on a holiday weekend in the United States so that the Monday after that first meeting was no work, no school, no nothing. I needed that and I worked on ATI stuff and needed that time. So next year, can we do this again on this weekend, please? Veterans Day. Thank you.
Thank you. Tanya.
I just wanted to say thank you to everybody, the agenda planning committee, not only because of the way all these meetings were organized, but also in between the meetings, the amount of detail and helping us, the participants, to get the agenda the day before and the messages that tell us if you want to know where, the proposal is, click here. It was a lot of detail to help us in the meetings. So I really appreciate all that work and all the work that Kelsey did, and also that the professional development committee did, and the patience of resolving all the concerns that came up as a collaboration for the whole group in the past 4 days. How people have mentioned inhibition and patience and stuff like that. And I especially appreciate when Kathy said one point, we hear you, we see you, we care, to remind us that we're in this together and we reach consensus through a lot of work and patience. Thank you.
Thank you. Debbie.
Two quick things. One, I want to acknowledge the expert facilitation. Also, I am totally in favor of having our business meeting online like this. I just think it's more inclusive for our membership when we're making important decisions for the organization and for all the people who may not be at a conference. So my vote is to keep it separate.
Thank you. Ariel?
That's exactly what I wanted to say. I so much appreciated separating the business meeting. It made it possible for me to attend. I think it would be interesting to run some numbers about, it seems that more people were able to attend and more international people, because it's not so easy to get and travel to a conference. So I just also wanted to say thank you for that. Also, the hybrid version I found very difficult to follow last year. So a strong vote to keep them separate and online. Thank you.
Thank you. David.
Yes, I also want to say actually thank you to everyone. I'm very impressed by, well, first the formal consensus process, which I've not come across before, but I think it only works with the overall willingness to actually reach a consensus, to find something that's practical and that works for everybody. So very impressed with everyone and their willingness. And again, I will throw in my two penneth. This is my first AGM, so I can't compare with any other, but I can well imagine that breakout rooms in a physical conference, and especially if you're going to also broadcast that, it's going to get very, very long-winded and difficult. I think this has been a very efficient way of doing things, and it allows people from all over the world, even though it's difficult for some people time-wise or clock-wise, I think this is the way to do it.
Thank you. Mary Lou?
I want to show appreciation for all the new to ATI or new to an AGM members who said, yeah, I'd like to have a role. I'd like to work with formal consensus and for the formal consensus committee and participate in a very special way. We all participate with our presence. But when you step up and you're new, it's very exciting. Thank you.
Thank you. Manuel?
Yeah, I'm really echoing everything was said about how by doing that online is really more inclusive and make able for international people to be part of. However, I want to say my frustration about the first week because when ATI decide the date of the 2 weekend, we had the French organization already choose our date for our own AGM. And it was exactly in the same time. So I was unable to be present during the first weekend.
Thank you.
And I miss it.
Yes,
thank you.
Sarah, I see your hand is raised. I'm just going to quickly read some of the things that were posted in the chat from people who had to leave. Irene Schlump mentioned that she appreciates our process and the time we took, and it was so good to see everyone. She enjoyed the AGM, and it was also challenging to be there for 2 weekends and the breaks working on finding consensus. On conference, separated from conference, she liked it, but would like to have the conference longer than 3.5 days. And she also wanted to acknowledge the work Sharon West and Lucia Walker did on creating a new kind of conference. Okay, go ahead, Sarah.
I wanted to say, I have to confess, I was really upset that we split the business meeting from the workshops. And I have been completely converted. And I think the main reason is that this gave all participants these last 2 weekends time and space to prepare for these meetings. When we're combining it with a conference, there's so many distractions and people just show up without really knowing what's going on. So the ability for all those emails that gave us documents and things we could prepare for, we've always done it, but this time I think people really could apply it.
Thank you. Joseph.
Yeah, I want to also thank everybody for this wonderful meeting and that we could participate in this way. I want also to congratulate all who got their awards, and especially I want to thank Bill Conable. He did something this year, which is he registered the ATI logo. So we have now a registered ATI logo. I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So we are out of time for evals. I propose we take maybe 2 more minutes to finish up the last 3 people who have been patiently waiting. Is there any concerns? Okay, perfect. Let's just take a couple more minutes. Teresa, go ahead.
I appreciated the recorded report from the board. I have to say, I kind of missed having that in one of the first meetings because I really do appreciate hearing from the board and having an opportunity to interact with the board. We all do a lot of work, but I think, you know, a lot of the heavy lifting goes to the board, and I think it's good to hear and be in the presence of all of them. It seems like I'm not in the majority, at least of the people who have spoken. I would like to see us go back to combining the business meetings with the conference. I missed the in-person interaction with people in the room. And yeah, I miss that energy. I miss the humanity that I think we lose in the Zoom. And I also having it on 2 weekends, 4 days across 2 weekends was very challenging for me.
Thank you. Tanya.
Yes, thank you. I'm talking on behalf of, you know, how we worked on the country groups. And I just wanted, since we're doing the conference part, I just wanted to say on behalf of some of the people that came on the country groups, some people have mentioned that in terms of language, for some people, a physical business meeting, it's easier for them to follow the language than on Zoom, because sometimes the captions don't quite work in some languages. It's confusing. And the other thing is that there has been some concerns between dividing the conference and the business meetings, because if the conference are always physical, there's people who cannot afford to travel for life reasons, economic reasons, or they care about the environment. So one thought that I've suggested in different areas is to alternate having 1 year be completely physical, and then the next year have it completely virtual, and alternate. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. And Antoinette.
Also, however, to splitting, as much as this worked so beautifully, formal consensus has been my favorite part of all our meetings. And how can we share that with the in-person people who might never have been to a formal consensus meeting, if we separate in-person from online completely? Does that make sense? I'm just concerned that I want to share how wonderful this is with people who've never experienced it, who might come only to in-person workshop kind of conferences.
Thank you. Mary Lou.
Yes, mine is not an evaluation. Mine is an ask. I would like all of you who have evaluations, especially about improving our meetings, that you add those comments to a message thread that will be in Basecamp after this meeting. We'll post it.
You mean
but you can add evaluations in Basecamp. Thank you.
If you haven't yet.
Thank you. So if you have any remaining evaluations, you can post them in the message thread on Basecamp. We will now take the next minute as a way to see each other and say goodbye. So if you would all join me in putting your view on gallery view, and just taking a moment to notice your breath and noticing your space and meeting yourself in your space. And taking a moment to look at all of the different faces and people that we have in front of us. And as you connect with your breath and your space, and also connecting with this virtual space, just if you have any thoughts of gratitude, love, peace, well wishes, or goodbyes that you would like to wish everyone, you may look around and do so. Or if there's any other thoughts or heartfelt wishes you want to send to someone. And if you want to, you may bring your hands to your heart. I invite everyone to do so. And as we end this annual general meeting, we can take these heartfelt wishes and gratitude with us as we go into our next thing, and thank everyone for participating. Thank you for coming to the 2024 AGM.